Mufasa is back on top of the box office, The Brutalist in hot water, and more Avatar 3 details released. This and so much more on this episode of Beyond the Screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I will be your host today. My name is Ryan Gumm. I'm joined by Jacob Holtzclaw, as always, and we have a very special guest today, my own brother and future filmmaker, Zac Gumm. I'm going to full name you because you're introduced to the people. Welcome, Zac.
Thank you for having me.
How are you guys doing?
Doesn't that mean you full named yourself there, technically?
That is true. Of course.
Kind of did, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta let people know who you are every episode. It's not like, what if we come back and it's just like people forget who I am? You know, that's kind of that's a concern.
I don't think I've ever actually posted your last name, so that's just what I mean by that. Is like I think you just full named yourself as well.
That's
probably
right.
a good thing you did too. Like, I forget who you are all the time.
Thanks, man.
I'll have that soundbite always ready for whenever I forget.
I need to get a soundbite and put it. I record with a mixer for those at home. I need to get like an input in one of my buttons here. It's just, my name is Ryan Gumm, and it's just every 5 seconds just pressing that so you guys don't forget who I am. Anyway, fellas, how are we doing on this fine afternoon?
Apparently, we're all tired.
Yeah,
I'm not tired. I'll be the only one out. I'm great, rejuvenized. I have all the energy in the world. I'm happy to be here.
Well, that makes one of us. I've had the most interesting week. Last week, I kind of exposed myself as a degenerate who mooches off of people because I'm currently unemployed. But that ends tomorrow. I'm very excited and a little nervous, but had a very stressful week that includes car troubles, a loved one in surgery, and starting grad school. So a very packed week for me. So I'm a little fatigued. But we're here.
All things that someone who's unemployed doesn't want to happen.
I know, all at the same time.
All at the same time, within a week.
So yeah, but we're here, we're making it work, and we're happy to report film news to you at home. So thank you and welcome. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into segment one, which is always box office news. We're going to report to you the latest from the earnings this past weekend, which was an extended 4-day MLK Day holiday weekend. Starting off at number one, Mufasa roars back to the top of the box office, climbing that mountain, and establishing itself again as a family-friendly movie. Jake's longevity claim at the very beginning of its theatrical release was more than correct. This film just sticks around, earning a $15.5 million over the extended weekend, so Friday through Monday. Overall, it won $15.5 million. The prequel film could exceed $210 million. They're still counting. Usually by Monday afternoon, they're finished. They have everything from the traditional 3-day, but we will not know the full number until tomorrow afternoon, and we're not waiting till Tuesday to record. So as of right now in this moment, the prequel film Mufasa could exceed $210 million domestically by the end of the day and nears $600 million worldwide. While Mufasa won the 4-day weekend, Mufasa is estimated to have lost the traditional 3-day weekend to upstart Sony and TriStar film One of Them Days, starring Keke Palmer and SZA. The film synopsis, according to IMDb, is, quote, when best friends and roommates Drew and Alyssa discover Alyssa's boyfriend has blown their rent money, the duo finds themselves going to extremes in a race against the clock to avoid eviction and keep their friendship intact. One of Them Days has reportedly earned $11.6 million in the traditional 3-day weekend compared to Mufasa's $11.5. One of Them Days is also estimated to have earned $14 million over the 4-day weekend and has excellent reviews, establishing itself as at least finishing second in the 4-day weekend. But technically, if you only count the weekends by their traditional Friday through Sunday release, technically One of Them Days is the winner as of right now with less than 100,000. But we'll see how things stand when the official number is reported tomorrow. For every One of Them Days, for every Sony release, for every loved film, there is always one that really doesn't do as well. We've seen it even in the last few weeks. With every One of Them Days, there's Blumhouse's Wolfman. Falling well short of expectations, this attempt at rebooting the Elder horror series finishes third in the box office, opening to an estimated $12 million over the expanded weekend. This is a film that got a ton of marketing, got a ton of money in trying to market to people, to everybody, horror fans alike, and it just did not perform. The film stars Julia Gardner and Christopher Abbott and is written/directed by Lee Wannell of The Invisible Man, which was a very popular film. The film's synopsis is, quote, a family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. Moving down the list past number 3, we're only going to go over the top 5 today. Sonic 3 finishes 4th on the weekend, earning an estimated $11 million over the entire weekend, including, once again, that 4th Monday. The film crosses the $422 million mark internationally and $219 million domestically to become the highest grossing film in the Sonic franchise. So with each iteration, the film franchise becomes more and more popular, and people just continue to turn out for this movie. People love it. Rounding out the top 5, last week's upstart, Den of Thieves 2 from Lionsgate drops to 5th in its second weekend, earning an estimated $7.8 million with a domestic total of $26.2 million. The film stars Gerard Butler and 50 Cent. Jake, I did not forget 50 Cent this week. I got some pushback for forgetting 50 Cent is actually the co-lead in the film, so I did not forget this week. So we've got a lot of high and overachievers and a lot of people, or a lot of films that kind of failed over the weekend, if you ask me. But while we have this kind of back and forth, again, a lot of films that did well, overall, this MLK Day holiday weekend will go down as one of the slowest for film in years. Usually, the MLK holiday weekend, they do well, and they just did not. So with all that in mind, we've got a lot we've covered here in a short amount of time. What are your guys' thoughts on the holiday weekend? And Jake, I'm going to start with you because usually I throw it to you. Zach, keep in mind what you want to say or what stood out to you the most. Jake, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, technically still grossing less Mufasa versus Sonic, but numbers are showing decline. So I'm not won yet. You keep saying that I'm going to win. I'm not counting the chickens, man. I'm not counting the chickens. So total gross still down, but what? Wolfman just doesn't seem like a good movie to me. I'm sorry. I watched it while we were watching Nosferatu. I watched that trailer and I was like, man, that just doesn't look. But I'm not a horror guy. So, and then I have not heard of One of Them Days.
Yeah.
I have. I've seen several of these ads actually, and it's pronounced SZA.
Apologies. I'm not unfamiliar with SZA and her work. I'm sure she's very talented. I'm just very white and I'm unaccustomed. I'm not in the know. I apologize.
Isn't that like I thought it had really good reviews. Like 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
Yes, One of Them Days is revered right now. People are loving this film.
And this is it a comedy?
I think yeah. I think like I've seen other places say that One of Them Days is like two friends having the worst day of their life kind of thing. So I think it's like a dramedy. Okay. So it's a little bit more like you've got dramatic, you've got some good stories, but it is like it's got comedy strewn out. And apparently Keke Palmer, I've heard nothing but amazing things from her performance in this film.
Yeah, she's got some other performances she does really well.
Oh, she's a world-class talent. She's amazing.
Let's see what she was in Nope. That was pretty good. Under the Boardwalk, that was the animated crab one, I'm pretty sure. So, and Lightyear, she's in the Buzz Lightyear one. So I know her more as like I guess the voice actor, but so I can see how that movie's being pretty good. I might watch that with the girlfriend later.
Yeah. All right, Zach, what stands out to you?
Wolfman,
sorry, Jake. Keep going. Sorry, Jake.
No, you're good. But Wolfman, no. All right, Zach, take it away.
Great input on the Wolfman, by the way. But I don't know. I mean, in terms of why numbers could be down, it could just be because of everything going on right now. Like in the Northeast, a lot of people are still snowed in. Over in California, the wildfires and stuff. So I just don't know if that's affecting it at all. In terms of everything else, I mean, not a lot has come out this weekend either. It's been a lot of like Sonic and Mufasa. Look at last year.
Sonic and Mufasa for 5 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And that is something I've seen a lot of places like last week. Now, remind you, I think it's important, Zach, that you commented on again on the kind of the slow holiday weekend. the 4-day weekend, the top earner earned as much as last weekend's traditional weekend. So with an extra day, Mufasa earned as much as Den of Thieves 2 did last weekend at 15 and a half. So like if that doesn't show you how slow things are. And when I was reading about kind of the box office numbers for last week, I'm pretty sure it was through the Hollywood Reporter, they were surprised with the Hollywood fires that the box office was still performing the way it was, because a lot of box office numbers, they come from cinemas in California. So it was really kind of surprising, and now I think we're seeing the residuals of all that. But on top of it too, it's I think that second point is even more important. Is the winner of this week is in its fifth week. You know, another top 3, top 4 film is in its fifth week. So I don't know. I just feel like I wish I would have seen more about One of Them Days, because I don't know if I'm just not the target audience, but I didn't see a lot of marketing for this film. It's obviously done very well for itself, but just if it had a wider like public marketing release, I wonder if it would have done a lot better. Are people just not going because they're bored? I think that's a great question. Also, Jake, you brought up Wolfman. I had high expectations because I am a horror fan, and it in the theater watching it on that big screen, it just looked fun. Like horror, again, like we talked about this, you don't really go into a horror movie, maybe outside of Robert Eggers and like Stanley Kubrick, and say, I'm here for the story, right? Like it looked like a good thriller. It looked interesting. And what stuck with me through the trailer was the practical effects on Christopher Abbott as he transforms into this creature looked interesting. Like it looked like it could be something that I leave thinking, ooh, that was like a thrill ride. That was fun. And it's really disheartening. Like I think its cinema score right now is C-. So personally, it's a little disheartening to hear that it's as bad as it is. I think Julia Gardner is a fantastic talent, and I think she'd be an amazing final girl in any of these horror films. So to see this film with the star power it has with the IP, I think Wolfman's an interesting concept. Like The Fly did fantastic, and I know The Fly is more of a self-inflicted type accidental like transformation, but that body horror of turning from man to beast is popular. That's a popular trope for a reason. So I think it has to be story. It can't be trope, because people like horror movies and they like this trope. It's got the star power. It has to be, the story just was not good, at least in my mind. So that's really disheartening to see. All right, and with that, we're actually right on time. We're a little early. We're going to go ahead and wrap up segment 1. Coming up after the break, AI in The Brutalist, and James Cameron reveals more about Avatar 3. Stay with us. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. You're in segment 2, major news. We're going to go over 2 stories today, a lot going on in each of them, so stick with us. We'll keep you in the know. AI has officially made its way into Beyond the Screen as a topic of discussion, fellas. This is a monumental day. Somehow we've made it 9 weeks, 10 weeks, however long we've been doing this show, Jake, without discussing AI at all. And here we are. So I think today we should celebrate, be known as Beyond the Screen AI Day. There's a lot of news. So in an interview with Red Shark News, a technology magazine, the Brutalist editor, David Jansko, admitted that leads Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones' Hungarian dialogues within the film were enhanced using AI in post-production, stating to the magazine, quote, I am a native Hungarian speaker, and I know that this is one of the most difficult languages to learn and pronounce. Continuing, they did a fabulous job talking about the 2 leads, but we also wanted to perfect it so that not even the locals will spot any difference. So you're asking, how did they do that? How'd they use AI at home? Well, we'll fill you in. Using the Ukrainian company Respeecher, Jankso fed the spoken words into the software, and the AI tool corrected the pronunciations as needed. Speaking, quote, we were very careful about keeping their performances and talking about keeping them intact, not changing how they were delivered, just changing maybe a little bit of how the spoken language was delivered through like the correct pronunciation. So after facing a considerable amount of backlash following this revelation, director Brady Corbet went on the defensive, speaking to the Hollywood Reporter. The disgruntled director would go on to explain that Brody and Jones' portrayals of their Hungarian characters were completely their own, and that AI was only used to, quote, refine certain vowels and letters for accuracy. Also speaking to THR, Corbet described how both actors worked for months with a dialect coach to refine their accents, and that no English language was altered within the film. Going back to editor Jansko, emphasize how AI could be a positive, even crucial tool when used within the creative process. Quote, "It is controversial in the industry to talk about AI, but it shouldn't be. We should be having a very open discussion about what tools AI can provide us with." So with all that in mind, we've got a lot of back and forth between editor and director. This is an at least award-seeking film. There's a lot of different, from BAFTA to Golden Globes, and especially the Oscars. This is a very high-dreaming film. And now, right before this award season, you have one of the hottest topics and touchy subjects in all of cinema coming down in a controversy on the film. So we're going to start with Zach this time. What do you think about the post-production team on an award-winning season hopeful using AI to refine actors' dialects?
To be honest with you, I think nothing of it. I think in this case, there's nothing to be upset about. There's no reason to be upset. I'm sure the actors are aware now, if they weren't before, that they fixed some of the dialect. I don't know. People get upset over anything AI now, and it's kind of, it's like, if it's not taking away jobs or doing anything like that, and it's just to like deep fake something like de-aging or something like that, I don't see the problem with it. Like if it's just to enhance the creative process, then I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, Jake, you seem to be agreeing with him. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I put it into ChatGPT to get my answers. So basically, it's awesome. It quietly perfects performances, eliminating the flaws. Why stop there? Let's go ahead and just make AI the co-star. Is what it's saying. And then, after all, perfection doesn't need to ask permission. That's a little too forward.
Wow.
If you ask me.
ChatGPT was like, yes, please.
No, I told her to say that. But no, I think in that case, the way that they used it is acceptable. To Because you always hear about people not being, I guess, portrayed correctly or being represented in movies, and you already run into not using Hungarian actors. Well, I love Adrian Brody. I think he's a great choice. I'm surprised that they couldn't get his dialect exactly correct. Hungarian has got to be a pretty tough language, if that's the case. But to use it to perfect the dialect, I think that's necessary to really portray the Hungarian uh, language.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because, as I said earlier, Janksko, who is the editor, and I know I'm mispronouncing his name, but he had actually described, once again, as I had said earlier, he is Hungarian, so he knows how difficult the language is. But he specifically went on to say how, like, once again, he's in defense of using the AI software, that the language itself, he understands that for an English speaker, for these kind of like these Anglo-Saxon was like a term he used, these people who just do not know this language until they're adults, there are certain phrases and certain vowels, certain syllables, certain words that are almost impossible to pronounce once you kind of are raised a certain way, which is like, he described this is one of the hardest languages to learn because of those little kind of like little things in the middle, if that makes any sense. So, which obviously he is way in favor of this. So it's an interesting point you make, and I think that exactly proves the editor's point. Kind of how I see it, really. I feel like, I love to write. I am also a creator. We're all creative people here. We're all creators in our own way, and in many ways in the same field. So we all kind of understand where this anxiety comes from because, yeah, I don't want to lose my job. I don't want my love for writing to be replaced by something that can pop out an infinite number of stories at the same quality as me when it's going to take me months to a year to write one, I get it. But there was always the caveat that if a tool, an AI tool was used, not as the creative force, but used to help like better the product, that was always the caveat as well. If it's a tool, then it's fine, but we're fighting to make sure that it's not the creative force. Here it is, used perfectly to that exact example, and people are throwing a fit. So I feel like there is this double standard on the software, and especially in our industry and in the industry overarching that we're not even touching. And I'm talking with Jake and Zach, you in the future. there is this double standard in regards to the tool itself. So either it's okay to use in spades in the way that people outline. Okay, is it a tool? Is it fine? Or are you too scared that it's going to replace you? Because at the end of the day, it is a tool. It is kind of what you make of it. So I cannot get behind. I should say historically, I've gotten behind, okay, let's limit the use of it because we need to protect the creators. The artistic and those who enjoy the style of this avenue of storytelling usually are the first ones to get blocked. You think of in terms of broadcasting and in terms of news even, there are jobs that are getting kind of antiquated into one and the other. You're going more and more automative and you're going less and less people. So I think that AI kind of spawns off of that fear. Also, I just think that on the other hand, like back to broadcast news, the automated technology that is your director, or that is like an automated like board, that is an automated camera, that stuff helps the broadcast. Those are tools that, yes, that company's saving money, and I might not agree with firing the person or letting go of people who would usually manually like do those jobs. But at the end of the day, time is progressing. At the end of the day, technology is progressing, and you have to adapt or be left behind. And again, as a writer and as a creator myself, I hate to say that. I myself do not have the strongest knowledge of AI, but in the next 10 to 15 years, there are going to be tools, again, antiquated and involved in video editors, in camera operating systems that are going to like fast track any and all creative productions. And if you don't learn them, you're going to be left behind because you're just going to be so like it's going to take so long compared to these other people who have adapted and adopted these systems. So I don't know. I just feel like you've got the old guard saying, here's your standard. It can only be used this way. And then the second it's used that way, they're attacking it and claiming it's something it's not. I could not agree more with our editor and director here. I think that this is I've not seen this film, but people talk about it like it should win Best Picture. I cannot wait to see this in theaters to give my own opinion on this film. But the fact of the matter is, this comes out right before award season. I'd like to see where this comes from. I really would, because that is interesting to me, the timing of it all. I see no problem with this. They're trying to create the most authentic, real look for the audience that they're giving it to. You have world-class actors and Adrian Brody and everyone else in the film. I kind of wish that if they were really, really focused on trying to create that sense of this is an actual Hungarian character, maybe they should have cast an actual person from Hungary. Maybe that's something they should have done. But you know what? Adrian Brody is one of the best actors in the world. So like, can you really blame him? And they're using their tools the way it was outlined, and I just don't see the problem. Any thoughts, fellas?
I mean, no, I think you hit it right on the money. Did not affect the awards or anything like that.
So yeah,
I think that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, well, so I think that if it wasn't up for an Oscar, would we still be having like this much hardship over this movie using AI?
That's a great question. Like when you say that, I think of so last year, I think it was last year, Jason Statham was starring in a movie called The Beekeeper, and it was just your action flick. It was like a not bad movie, but if AI was used in that, would we be caring this much?
The Beekeeper. Well, you know what he is now, right? What's the new movie coming
he has
out
a
now?
new one. The trailer released very recently. Isn't he chasing like human traffickers in that? Isn't there a controversy about that too? He's doing something of the sort.
God dang it, where's it at?
He becomes the new.
I'm a
Liam
working man.
Yeah. Is that
he's
crazy?
got the same movie that comes out
the
almost
same
every
movie.
other thing.
And I am set. I will watch it.
Beekeeper, I will say this is way off guard. We have one more topic to go in our main section here, but I liked kind of the little tidbits of story the Beekeeper left. I thought it was really interesting. I need to rewatch it to remember everything, but I remember leaving that theater thinking, this wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but there's so much room for them to adapt and continue telling a story if they wanted to. Should they? No, but overarchingly, they don't go into the beekeepers as a force, like a government hitman force. And I would like to see more of that. If they did decide to make a sequel, I wouldn't be mad at that one, because that's one of the few that's like, there's enough story here to tell a sequel. There's a lot they just didn't get to. They didn't dump as much lore on you as possible. They left the perfect amount of little breadcrumbs in a very B-movie story to make me say, But other than that, exactly your point, Zach. Jason Statham is the present-day Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, I think, has grown out of that character, and in comes old Jason himself.
Well, Ryan, I'm happy to have on recording that you say that I'm right. So I'm very happy about that.
This episode will never see the light of day. Anyway, moving on. We have
Oh,
our
no.
second news segment. We have our second news
No.
segment here in
It's
main
horrible.
topic. James Cameron is talking about Avatar 3. He's been quiet for a while. Usually it's like he's like James Gunn and talks to everybody about everything regarding every project he's ever been doing. And you question whether or not he should be talking that much. But he went quiet, and it has to be because he's working on this film. So Cameron is set to introduce a fire type clan that will act as the film's central antagonist in Avatar 3. They are going to be known as the Ash Clan. So in an interview with Empire Online, the cinematic legend described this new iteration of the Na'vi people, as well as their battle-tested leader, stating, Varang is the leader of a people who have gone through an incredible hardship. She's hardened by that. She will do anything for them, even things that we would consider to be evil. Cameron also described how the story is attempting to lean away from the, quote, all humans are bad, all Na'vi are good trope that has thus far been established within the series. Within this interview, Cameron also teases, quote, brave choices throughout the film's narrative and visual effects, continuing to state to Empire Online, quote, we've got some really clever action set pieces, further describing how, as a 70-year-old creator, he is still given the opportunity to, quote, get to a level of character and intrigue you haven't seen before in an Avatar film. With all that, we're going back to you, Jake. What are your thoughts on James Cameron's revealed plot points and overall direction for the Avatar franchise?
I think this is the best way, this best course of action, because I was thinking after watching Way of Water, and then I was like, well, he's coming out with a third one. That was announced almost immediately after the second one came out, and I was like, man, I hope it's really not just Navi finding the fire tribe and fighting the guy who should have died this movie and the next movie.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, actually, James Cameron was behind me when I said that. So he just took that idea from me.
Yeah, James Cameron he's one of the boys, Jake. He was actually, he went to the theater with us and was like, what do you guys think? And I was there when you said that, and he seemed really intrigued by it.
Well, I didn't even know he was there, so
Oh, you
I
didn't know?
let him take the idea. No, see,
me and Jimmy
he
are
was
best
in
friends, dog.
Did I even go with you? Who did I go with?
No, I have a funny story about my Way of Water experience, but it wasn't with me. But anyway, continue your point.
I don't know. My main review for Way of Water was too wet.
Yeah.
Not like it's too wet. I had to watch it in 3D, so that was fun. But yeah, I think this is the right move for Cameron because it's gonna get old. I mean, it 2 is right at that. I was surprised they let spoiler that guy live. I really expected him to pass, but yeah, this is gonna be a new story, and I hope they don't just like at the end everybody's happy. No, I like keep the Ash Clan, somewhat antagonistic. I think that'd be good.
Zach?
So I've not really watched these movies that much because I don't really enjoy them as much. Like I watched the first one when it first came out, but when the second one I was checked out. I liked the like the effects, but nothing stood out to me. But whenever I was reading into it, with him averting tropes and trying to not like, 'cause I saw people criticize him for turning it into like a racist undertone type deal with the humans and the Na'vi.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they're called?
Yes.
And so it does make sense for him to want to change that and to have like the Na'vi fight other Na'vi or whatever. My only point, and I've gone and looked it up, are the Ash people supposed to be red? Is that the whole point?
I don't think so. I think that all of the Na'vi on Pandora are like, they're just blue giant alien creatures. But like the point is like, so I've seen also other critiques like James Cameron's copying the other Avatar, the Last Airbender, and he's just going through the different like bend types. So like the first one was like earth, and the second's water, and the third's fire. I also think I think you made a great point, Zach. I think his stories, at least in the first 2, are kind of basic. I feel like the first one's just Pocahontas, and then the second one, I feel like they did better at character development. But the first 2 for me feel like cool alien now in water, and it just really didn't quite like hit for me. So I would hope that with what we've seen so far that there are no more of these critiques, that these are kind of resolved, because I think this is the next natural evolution is you have to say, look, none of these people are perfect either. Continue your thoughts, Zach.
What I was gonna say was that because now if you look up Avatar 3, The Fire and Ash, if you look it up, it shows their clan and they're all red. And so why, if you're trying to fight off people saying that you have racist undertones in your movie, why would you make the next antagonist a different color?
If that is true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
like-
might not be true. We don't
Again,
know if they're gonna be red.
They've not
but
released
yeah.
a trailer or anything on it, I don't think. But now if you look it up online, all the pictures show like red Avatar people.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be to their detriment. I think with what he's saying, if it's just the Navi or the Navi and he's going away from these undertones that people are critiquing, I think that this is the perfect, Jake, you said it best. I think this is the perfect way to move past that. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I worry about the future of the franchise because, as James Cameron said in the interview, he's 70, and this is the third of what, 6, 7 movies he's planned. So it's almost, when will it lose its? Because to be honest with you, James Cameron said he took a decade to write the next 5 films or something. I'm gonna be so for real. I don't think he did that. I really don't think he took that long and made that many scripts. I maybe he has a general idea for where the story's gonna go. But it just feels like with everything he says, not that it contradicts the last, but it feels like he's coming up with something new. And I wonder if that's because he's doing it on the fly. He's one of the best, most legendary creators of all time. So it's like you cannot judge him for doing that. You can't say that that's to his detriment because he's great. But I just worry that him as a 70-year-old creator, he's going in a certain way. If he's not letting other people in on his creative process and how this character in this just world is going to develop, one day he's not going to be around to continue it. Where will it go past this? That's kind of, I don't know. I have reservations.
Well, Ryan, you did say a minute ago you and Jim are friends, so you could ask him up.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
I gotta call Jimmy back. Not talk to him.
Hit him
in a long
up.
time.
See if you can't do number 4, 5, 6.
Yo, James, you need a director for Avatar 7?
Yeah,
Roots in the ground? Okay, I got you.
something like that.
All right, and with that, we will conclude segment 2 after the break, your film news with quick hits. Welcome back and welcome to segment 3, quick hits. As always, we just want to thank you guys for listening this far. If you've made it here, we hope that you've had a fun ride and that you enjoy coming back week in and week out. If you're new here, welcome again. We hope that you can come back next week and give us your thoughts. If you've been here all along, please, please, please like, comment, subscribe, do the whole 9 yards, whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. We really want to hear your opinions. It'd be a lot of fun to kind of have some back and forth with those who listen. There's always someone who has an opinion about something, especially in film, and we are not above discussing it on the podcast. So let us know what you think, and we'd love to hear from you. So some quick notes before we get into the quick hits. RIP legendary filmmaker David Lynch, rest in peace. He's one of the greatest creative minds in all of cinema. He the legendary director of films like Eraserhead and Twin Peaks, passed away here recently. He was 78 years old. He was just fun. He was just fun to watch, not only in his films, but just him as a personality. And it's kind of one of those things that you don't even think about. He's an older man and then, just gone. And he's, again, one of the best minds in the game. So it's sad, but he will literally live on forever. He is immortalized not only in his genre, but also as an artist just overall. So rest in peace, David Lynch, and thank you for everything you've done. Also, TikTok is back. Fellas, I don't know what you guys did in your 12 hours of mental health reevaluation, but I solved all the world's problems when I wasn't on TikTok. And then I got TikTok back and I forgot what I had learned. So, fellas, what did you do in your TikTokless time?
I was sitting in the corner tweaking, dog. I was itching, picking the scabs, dude. I
All
didn't
the
know what
withdrawal.
to do. Yeah. What about you?
Nothing changed. I don't really use TikTok.
Wow.
This guy.
No, I'm a degenerate. I'm
Just-
the real degenerate.
Just a normal dude over here.
No.
He just walks down the street, not a care in the world, has no idea what's going on.
Zach, you're the type of
Everybody's
guy.
referencing some kind of head coming out of a toilet and something about 90s.
Zach, you're,
Fortnite,
you're the
something.
type of you're the type of guy that would raw dog a plane like a flight. You just sit straight forward, no music, no phone, nothing. Just the whole 2 to 10 hours.
Yeah, what do you guys do on a plane? Is that not the normal?
Okay.
Dude, I had to do that on the toilet, and it was the worst experience of my life.
No.
For those 12 hours, yeah, I didn't have TikTok. I just had to stare at the wall like it was like the 1920s.
You had 12 hours on the toilet?
Not 12 hours, but good 10 minutes, bro. I was like, dang.
Where
I
do
don't
you
even
think?
have a newspaper in there.
Where do you think he
You
was
want to know why
tweaking at?
there's? Yeah, dude, I was on the toilet tweaking. Where else
12
do you
hours.
tweak?
Yeah. I got what you said.
But like, no, gone are the days of magazine holders by the toilet. Like, you don't see those things anymore.
So what are
'Cause
you
it's in
gonna
your
do on the
hand.
toilet?
Watch TikTok.
Exactly.
The fuck? Yep.
Anyway, back to segment 3. We're going to start off here. We're going to go back and forth from Zach to Jake and so on and so forth, giving your quick thoughts about the recent news. So, Zach, Osgood Perkins' bloody second feature-length film, The Monkey, with James Wan and Stephen King producing, gets its first official trailer release. What'd you think?
Best trailer ever. Definitely going to be just, I'm so excited to watch this movie. Just Monkey. That's all I think about. It's
Monkey.
amazing. And it looks like a comedy horror, which is great. We don't have enough of those. It's great. It's amazing. Go watch it. Watch the trailer. Like it.
Yeah,
I'm not paid by them.
it looks fun. Not sponsored. It looks
Not
fun.
sponsored.
But I'm concerned just because Osgood Perkins' first film, Longlegs, which was a good film, kind of fell flat in some regards due to the story. So this does look fun. I'm hoping that with a James Wan and a Stephen King kind of over each shoulder, that maybe it'll be a little bit more straightforward. But he's great at building a scene, and it looks bloody and it looks fun. So yeah, moving on.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead,
But
Zach.
But Monkey, Ryan.
But Monkey.
A monkey.
But Monkey.
Yeah.
I definitely think if it knows it's a comedy, it's gonna do great. Now, if it tries to be something else while doing comedic stuff, it might not. It might
Right.
just get what?
At least the trailer is really good.
Yeah, well, you can just watch the trailer. You don't have to go
Yeah.
see it. Then.
Yeah. I'll watch the trailer until it comes out and then may never watch a movie again. Just watch the trailer. It's really good.
All right, Jake, Charlie Cox's return as Daredevil in sequel series Born Again gets its first official trailer release. John Bernthal's Punisher is introduced. There's so much gore. Born Again Season 2 has already begun filming and will continue before the Season 1 premiere on March 1st. What do you think?
March 4th, everybody. March 4th, not 1st. Anyway, so
Whatever.
I have to make fun of him wherever I can get.
I thought you meant first, and then you just said
No, I
first.
tried to say 4th.
Anyway, so
Language hard.
Yes, there's gore upon gore. I remember distinctly in the trailer, somebody's arm gets broken, and you can see like the blood coming like through the shirt where they broke their arm, and so I know this is going to be good. It also, so Born Again is kind of about how Daredevil comes back after he says he crossed a line, so it does get super violent. And this is going to be one of those, like, I think he's going to be going through some stuff, which is always what we want to see. You know, it kind of worked with Batman where he's more brutish. And then we always say that like Spider-Man, if he was down on his luck, we got to see that type of Spider-Man. We know it would do good. So I have high hopes for this, especially with John Bernthal coming back, because everybody loved his Punisher. It's going to be stacked.
Yeah. And along with that broken arm bit, there was a scene where Daredevil, like full-fledged, like double kicks a guy sitting on the ground and his leg snaps in half. Like he kicks him at the knee. And this is a Disney trailer. And I physically revolted. Like I went, ugh, when I saw that. And it's so Daredevil. And so, Jake, are you excited for this?
I'm super excited, man. This is like one of those. This is up there with Batman for me. I love Daredevil. I love something about just a normal dude breaking people's legs.
Have you heard that story about Charlie Cox where he played Daredevil so long that when he went to act in other films, he forgot how to look at people in the eye when portraying because Daredevil's blind, so when he's not Daredevil, when he's just in his like everyday civilian clothes, he's looking. Charlie Cox has to look up in or like at a random corner to act blind. I love his dedication.
I love that, but like I feel sorry, you know, like it's got to be a tough thing to overcome too. I appreciate the the commitment to the bit, you know, like because I love his work. It's just, man, I feel sorry for him if that's something that's hard to break, and I believe it is. Good on him for trying, you know. Good on him for doing.
Yeah. Moving on, Moana 2 crosses the 1 billion mark, the third 2024 Disney film to do so, behind Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. Zach, what do you think about Moana 2 and overarching Disney's successful year?
Well, they had a great year with Deadpool, Wolverine, and Inside Out 2, and I've heard those movies are great. I've watched one of them. Moana 2, I've heard the exact opposite, which is unfortunate. I've heard that it only got the well, no, I haven't heard that, but I imagine it only got the $1 billion because of it being a Disney property and being that. But either way, I mean, they're firing on all cylinders, getting all their things out that they want to. Oh, they're also doing a live action Moana as well, which is kind of crazy. I don't
Yeah,
know why they wanted to do that.
it's weird that they would have continued the story. The story was originally pitched and like greenlit as a series for Disney Plus alone, and they said, you know what, just throw all the episodes together and release it as a movie. And then at the same
Yeah.
time, greenlit the live action remake. So just
Yeah.
with all that happening, Zach, what crosses your mind?
Too much, way too much. You know what's better than Moana 2?
What is that?
Trailer for the monkey. Oh,
He brought it back to the monkey.
Dog, he is committed
go
to the
watch this
monkey.
trailer. It's really good. When I first watched it, I was just cackling, loving it, every second of it. I want to go watch the movie now.
Moving on, Jake, David Krumholtz and Emily Beecham have been cast as the parents to Millie Alcock's Supergirl. Kara, or Supergirl, is rumored to make an appearance in David Cornsweat's upcoming Superman film. Give me your thoughts.
I have not seen her portrayal of Supergirl. However, I do look forward to the Superman film. So now that we've got some more names, I know David Krumholtz has been in Oppenheimer and some other flicks. He does really well. He's a great actor. I don't know if he's really played like main roles, but everything he's done is top notch. I have no pointers for him. Like I could give him pointers. Where can I stand? I'm gonna hop off my soapbox, but yeah, can't wait for Superman. It's looking up. Got more names to it. These guys are gonna. I think it's gonna be a great film, and they're gonna be heralded for their roles in it.
Couldn't agree more. I love what I've seen from the trailers and just kind of what they went in terms of what was inspiring to them, from Top Gun inspiring the flight to just the design of Crypto. We've talked about that before. I think James Gunn, when he's actually put something to screen and we've seen it, I think it's hit. I just think, as I said last week, he needs to stop talking. And I'm happy to report this is the first week in probably the entirety of our show's run thus far that I don't have a quote from James Gunn in here. So good job, James, and I'm excited to see what comes up. Moving along, Zach, Community stars Joel McHale joined Scream 7's cast as Sidney Prescott's husband, Mark. While for those who are seasoned Scream fans, this might be a confusing cast, as Sidney Prescott, her character played by Neve Campbell, has already had a husband named Mark. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Joel might be playing the same Mark and that they just recast the character. However, McHale will be playing a different husband, also named Mark. Patrick Dempsey, who was in Scream 3, who played the original husband to Neve Campbell's character, Sidney Prescott, was a homicide investigator named Mark Kincaid. He had expressed his interest in returning to the role. Instead, we got Joel McHale portraying another Prescott husband named Mark Evans. Zach, what'd you think?
Whenever I first saw this, the first thing I thought of was obviously Patrick Dempsey, and I hope a lot of people did, because that was actually a great casting, great everything. I enjoyed that whole thing in Scream 3, which, if I remember correctly, is the worst Scream. I don't know if I just offended a lot of people, but I don't remember. But I'm excited to see Scream 7. I didn't know he also was named Mark. That's kind of weird. I don't know why they would do that.
You think
Anyway.
they'll mention it?
I kind of hope they do because he was in Scream 5, I think. At least he was mentioned in Scream 5.
Isn't that something like that would be up Scream's alley though? Like that's what they do. Like they make fun of
Yeah,
themselves and the genre. So why wouldn't they comment on apparently Sidney Prescott's affections for guys named Mark?
maybe it's deliberate. Or like, oh, he's recast, but he's also different.
Well,
I
they're
don't know.
completely
I don't
different
know. It's
characters. It's you got Mark Kincaid and Mark Evans. Now there's no
yeah,
really there's no story outside of this is just a continuation of Sidney Prescott. But it's very heavily implied that Mark Evans is a different character.
yeah.
Maybe
I
it's
saw a
just
lot of
easier.
people. Saw a lot of people say that this is obviously going to be the next killer. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
care. All I know is that it'll be interesting to see.
What's interesting when you say that, Zach, is I feel like Joel McHale, he's like one of the most sarcastic, like good guys of the internet from his time on Community. Like he's a comedian. I feel like he's the first one to die. Like I got the exact opposite reaction. I saw him cast and I said, well, that's a guy that's going to be murdered instantly. I don't know. I don't think he would be the killer, but I would like to see Patrick Dempsey return, as you said. But yeah, interesting stuff.
Maybe he'll be the killer.
Maybe. I don't know.
Dempsey's upset that he was recast.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
comes in as
How
Patrick
dare you
Dempsey.
replace me? Patrick Dempsey is Scream.
Yeah.
Moving along here, the first trailer for the upcoming Until Dawn adaptation reveals a time loop plotline involving the Wendigo. While many seem to be pleased with the quality the trailer presents, many fans continue to struggle grasping with the reality that the film just isn't very much like the game, outside of a very few plot details here and there. Jake, what are your expectations for this film? This is another video game adaptation. We discussed it just a tad bit last week. Give me your thoughts.
Um, is this is one of the only like Wendigo uh on screen, right?
I don't remember.
Or there's not a lot. But this is one of those ones. It's what is it? Rooted in Native American mythology, but also it's like Appalachian too.
Yeah.
Um, so this is going to be fun for those Eastern Kentucky and Virginians out there, the Wendigo. As I've said numerous times, I am not a horror guy, but um, I'm just looking at the article that Ryan sent me, and I wouldn't want to meet him in an alley or in the woods. So I have not seen the trailer. I will watch the trailer, but I expect this to be with the pushback. I mean, it's not like the video games, so there's always going to be problems. I mean, it's not, you don't necessarily have to stick to source material, but yeah, I don't know. You're going to lose the video game people, and that's who you kind of want to go see the movie that you're basing it off of.
How much can you change the story without completely changing what it's adapted from?
It really depends on like the story itself. I mean, you got to have a little bit that ties it back, or why else would you say it's based off of this? You know, but if it's completely like a new storyline, new people, anything like that, and it's just in the same universe, because you can do that with like Blade Runner and Alien are in the same universe, but like you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Um, so you can do that. But yeah, this might not do as well, just because, well, Sony. But
Yeah.
you know,
Personally, I think the only real connection is like outside of there being like a cannibal type villain, and it's the idea, not even the true story. It's the idea that your actions have consequences and the replayability factor, I guess. Like, and in that, it's not even in the movie. It's just, oh yeah, like you can go through, make different choices. If you didn't like an ending, you can reload it and do something different. And in the movie, instead of it being a player, it's the characters themselves in a time loop. And then after that, after the somewhat of a similar like villain slash scary thing coming after people and that trope that I just described, that's really it. That's it for the similarities. And so I almost wish that this would have been its own thing that was inspired by Until Dawn, not the Until Dawn movie. Personally, if
Well,
it's going to be that different.
it's also got I don't know if he's playing the same character, but the main guy from Until Dawn that talks to the player, the actor who plays him is in the movie, and he's heavily featured in the trailer. So I don't know if he's playing the same character ish.
He'd have to,
Or not.
right? Like he'd have
I have
to.
no idea.
Oh no. And well, we're almost at the end of our show here, fellas. Our biggest loser of the week. Usually we do that in our first episode or first segment, I should say, with the box office. However, I think this is one of the most like comedic filled storylines of the past week in terms of cinema news. Timothée Chalamet was on the premiere of A Complete Unknown, the red carpet. This man rides in on a Lime electric scooter, which is just exactly, or a bike, I should say, electric bike, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just green and white with the green Lime logo on the side. He rides in, he parks. It's a huge thing. Everyone takes pictures. Timothy, however you pronounce his name, is so quirky. The man got fined $79 for not parking it correctly because he parked it on the red carpet. The city that I think it wasn't in LA. I don't remember exactly where, but the city fined him. What do we think of this horrendous, this absolutely pocket draining $79 to Mr. Chalamet?
You are not above the law. Timothy is not above the law.
How could Willy
if I-
Wonka do this?
Yeah,
crazy.
dude. Broke
That
my
is
heart.
insane.
Somebody should arrest him.
Put him in jail. Really set the standard. Well, fellas, do we have any other comments before we let the people go?
Monkey. Go watch that trailer.
Go watch the monkey trailer.
Not the movie, just the trailer.
Just the trailer.
All right, fellas. That's it for our show. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.